Good evening, everybody. My name is Bubbycraft, and this is a tutorial for Thomas. You might be wondering, wait, why are we doing another tutorial for Thomas, Bubby? Well, this is going to be an RWS style Thomas in my little world and such for creations and everything. So you've seen my other style. Boom. The other style I am now referring to as the TV series style, which is much larger, a little clunkier, and not as compact and cool as the new Railway series style. Now this build, it was heavily inspired on the build made by Teacup in the Extended Bokies Discord, who is a absolutely fantastic builder, despite what he tries to tell everybody. I absolutely loved the way Thomas looked in the quick little disaster he called of the build. But yeah, I decided that I wanted to rebuild it myself and kind of just see what I could do with it, and it ended up spawning off a whole bunch of other, what I'm now again calling the Railway series style of builds for the Thomas characters. As you can see, this build is entirely one block smaller. It is a little bit more complicated to get in and out of, which I will illustrate once we have the build in build mode, or out of build mode into assembled mode. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So of course you need to make your station enter into assembly mode, and we want to go ahead and select a triple axle. We're going to do the large create styled 060. There we go. That's our first step. Our next step is we're going to build out a platform, 6x6 or 6x3 platform for our Thomas. There we go. On the front of that platform, we're going to go ahead and add just a temporary block to place down one of these framed slice stairs slabs. So that way we can place down 3 of those. And then along the outside of our build here, we're going to place down our side red colors here. Oh, you know what? I actually forgot. We needed to do something different here. We're going to place a temporary block, another temporary block, get rid of this temporary block, and come down here and give it a little boop. We want to break this rail here so we can come down here to give it another little boop. And then we want to break this piece of gravel, come down here and give it another boop. Break that gravel. And we're just going to replace our gravel and our track. And now we have our back end of Thomas as well. What we want to do with this is we want to clear this out. We want to grab some white steel. As always, you can use whatever color white you want. It is totally up to you. I just really like the white steel, again, because it gives a cartoony look that I just feel fits really well with the Thomas characters. So continuing on to the other side, we're going to place down our half panels with the red loco metal, clearing out the palette of a color that we actually needed. Our next step is we're going to place down 2 pieces of black riveted loco metal, one over top of the bogie and one just centered right there. From there, we're going to place down a fluid tank and a whistle on top. And we're going to right click the whistle to make it the smallest whistle. Excellent. Now for our next round of blocks, we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves a copycat stairs, copycat slab, and we're going to do a copycat headstock if I can find it. There it is. And we want that copycat half panel again. We want the black local metal smoke box. And we want a wood burner smokestack as well as a coal burner smokestack. And what we're going to do here is we're going to create the illusion of a much larger, I'm sorry, not a much larger, a rounded steam dome or steam smoke box. I don't know, you guys will always correct me in the comments no matter what I say. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to place down a temporary block to which we're going to place the wood burner smokestack, right click it so that it stops producing smoke, and then we're going to shift click the coal burner smokestack on top of that wood burner. We're going to remove our temporary block, and we're going to also grab a copycat panel. We can get these out of the inventory now. We want to shift click that copycat panel, and we can add down a, oh, you know what? Actually, that's not what we wanted to do at all. We're going to shift click this. That needs to go down though. Shift, there we go. Shift click the bottom of that wood burner smokestack, and that will go ahead and add the copycat headstock, and then we can add a copycat half panel in a minute. We're just gonna, by adding back that temporary block and adding in the copycat half panel, we're gonna add that half panel all the way around, and then we can get rid of that temporary block. On this side, again, we're gonna click the bottom of the smokestack to add our two headstocks. We're gonna add in the smoke box and make sure everything faces the correct way. And there we go. Now we're starting to take shape here. Looking kind of cool, huh? Looking kind of cool. Oh, you know what? We didn't fill in the front here. So we'll grab a piece of white steel and the white local metal that's iron wrapped. We're gonna place an iron wrapped there in the middle. And then, I mean, you could technically just use copycat stairs there. You can also decorate it however you want. It's there, those stair slabs are there so that you can do whatever you want. Doesn't really matter to me. If it makes you happy, do it. We want buffers in our screw link coupler. So we're going to place down the two buffers and the screw link coupler. Screw link coupler and two buffers. Perfect. We're going to grab the red polished local metal. Place that there. We're going to grab some red dye. Dye those red. Just because it's going to give it a little bit more detail, a little bit more of a pop. We're going to grab a copycat vertical slice. Place that there. Place that there. Grab the black slashed local metal. Just color in those slices. And there we go. We've got the front of Thomas basically done. Our next step that we want to do is we want to add an upside down stair, but that's going to be a little bit difficult without a temporary block there, and then an upside down stair. Same on the other side, temporary block there with an upside down stair. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to place down two of the copycat slabs in there. And there is a reason we're doing that. I left this open on purpose so I can illustrate better myself what it's going to look like. There is a reason that we're doing the 2 Copycat slabs. Connective Textures currently in Copycats Plus is not working for some reason. It did work, and it did make it so that this all connected and looked, you know, cohesive the way Thomas is supposed to look. But for some reason, the connective textures right now are not working. So that's what we've got going on there. And yeah, I'm gonna grab a panel. So next thing we want to do is just repeat the same thing on the other side. Place down 2 Copycat slabs. Copycat slab on top of all of those. And there we go. We're gonna fill in those like so. And there we go. And we're gonna take a piece of polished cut Azuren and fill that in. So again, fill those in. Oh my goodness. It's like I've never built before. Fill those in, fill this guy, and then those 3. Boom. Our next step that we want to do is we are going to start working on the cab now. Temporary Copycat panel with another Copycat panel. And same thing on the other side. Temporary Copycat panel. Copycat panel. We're going to grab a Copycat slab, and we're going to just crouch click here, crouch click, crouch click, crouch click, thank you, like that. And we're going to place down Copycat panels along the back side there. Now the connective textures work like that for some reason, but they just don't want to work like that for some reason. It is what it is. We're going to grab ourselves a Copycat half panel, make a temporary like so, repeat the same thing, make a temporary like so, shift click onto that temporary with the half panel, and remove the first one and color those in with the polished cut Azuren. We're going to do the same thing here on this guy. You know what? We'll just place down 2 temporary blocks. Polished cut Azuren temporary blocks. We're actually not coloring those in like that. We're going to shift click, Azuren, destroy the temporaries, and I was completely wrong. Those actually are staying out there. My apologies. You know, it wouldn't be one of my tutorials if I didn't royally mess up, because I don't like editing all too much. So I try to keep everything one cohesive build for you guys, so that you see my thoughts processed in real time, so to speak. So there we go. We've basically almost finished the build here. One of the other things that we want to do outside of clearing our palette here is we want to dip back into our Copycats, and we're going to grab a Copycat half layer. We're going to grab a Copycat layer and a Copycat slice. And then I go with the deep slate tiles now for the roof, just because I like the cohesion. It looks really nice. It just gives a little bit of texture to the black roofs, that sort of thing. We're going to now build the steam domes, or the boiler domes, or as I like to call them, boiler baubles. Get used to it. I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. They are called steam domes. I'm just being a turkey. We are going to grab a Copycat layer and just go up to the top of that copycat headstock there. Grab a half layer, go up as far as we can until it adds another 1 layer on top. And then for that guy, you're just going to match up to the level of that other layer that you made. Perfect. We're going to do polished cut azurine for the steam dome. And we're going to do wrapped local metal for the rest of that boiler part. Now the only thing left to do is just add in the windows that I completely forgot. And the one back piece that I also forgot. So our next step, inside the cab, we want to get rid of these ugly looking shapes and textures that are happening in there. One of the things that we can do is I liked adding in the flat slashed local metal, and that's what that did there. And we can do blue slash local metal just to kind of break things up. And I went with oak windows to also again break things up. We're going to grab our train controls, because while you're building this, it's going to be a pain in the butt to get in and out of when you have the roof on and everything. It's going to be a pain in the butt to get in and out of until you have it in build or out of build mode into assembled mode. So I'm going to grab a seat and a train control. The seat will fit snugly there. Train control right there. And then we want one more block like so. Oh, you know what? No. That was supposed to go here. So we're going to just temporary block that like that. And then let's do this there. And perfect. We don't have to go back inside the cab anymore. We're going to grab copycat steps. Place those copycat steps like that. Grab some coal. And boom, you've got yourself a little coal bunker, whatever you want to call it back there. I'm sure you guys again will correct me in the comments like you usually do, which I do appreciate, don't get me wrong. It's just funny to purposely make mistakes sometimes just so people engage with me. I need to talk to people sometimes. It gets lonely. Just kidding. Alright. There, we've got that. Our standard 2 on the sides, 3 in the middle. Grab our copycat slices. Slices on the sides. Boop. Deep slate for the roof. And presto, changeo, amazo. You've just built yourself a Thomas the Tank Engine. One other cool little, just last detail that I really liked that Teacup had was we put that oak button there and that oak button there. It just breaks up the texture. Just gives you something nice to look at. It's really neat. It's really, really, really neat. Alright, so now what we'll do is we're gonna just boop, 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 boop. Take these out like so. Place you out of build mode. I'm going to show you how to get in and out of your new RWS style Thomas the Tank Engine. Right click the seat. It's going to put you right in the cab. You might think, oh, I can't jump out of here though. Now that it's in assembled mode, just jump. For whatever reason, Minecraft just gets you out of the cab. It is so easy. But when you're in build mode, Hold please. There we go. For whatever reason, when you're in build mode, you can't jump out of the dang cab. So you have to put yourself in spectator mode if you need to go back in while it's inside of build mode. So just, you know, follow the tutorial along just as I did, and you won't have any issues. You won't need to go back in the cab, and your Thomas will be able to drive and operate heavy machinery. There we go. I also wanted to just take a quick minute just to showcase I am actually building currently on my new mod pack. You may have heard that CurseForge approved the mod pack that I submitted for, and it is essentially just a mod pack of all of the mods that I use for building these creations. And it is the mod pack that, as you can see, runs the Island of Sodor map. And it actually runs it pretty well, surprisingly. It's a little bit more optimized than I had made my first pack. Yeah, the one that I started to build this this map on. So it's a little bit. See, this is why we test things. Look at that. But yeah, it's a little bit more optimized than the original pack was. So it's just funny. But yeah, I will put the link to the mod pack in the description. It's got all of the cool bits and bobs and everything inside of it that I'm using to create these builds and do these models and all this stuff and things. And I just really like how there's so much stuff to poke through and look at and everything. There's a sneak peek of a character that we will eventually do in the RWS style. Hey look, it's Henrietta. And yeah, I like building these things for you guys. I think it's absolutely awesome. And yeah, just come over here. Whoop. We have a purpose for this, I promise. There is a purpose for what we're doing. So one of the mods inside this mod pack is Create Dreams and Desires. Dreams and Desires was absolutely amazing because it had the best tree, in my opinion, in all of Minecraft. The best tree. The rubber tree, like literally best tree. No questions asked. And now, we no longer have the rubber trees inside Dreams and Desires. It makes me sad. But yeah, I literally just put this map inside the new mod pack, and I think I'm missing something on Farquhar. I'm missing something here too, so I'll figure out what I'm missing. But I wanted to put New Thomas in front of Farquhar. Oh, we're missing stuff here too. It's a disaster, but it wouldn't be. Oh, we're missing stuff there too. That's immersive engineering though. I took out immersive engineering. I wasn't using it, and I didn't think you guys wanted to either. But anyway, if you like the video, like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video. Please comment, share, subscribe, all the cool stuff and things. And I appreciate each and every single one of you. And you know the drill. Okay, love you, bye! Good evening, everybody. My name is Bobbycraft, and today we're going to be building another engine out of the what I'm calling Real World series, as opposed to Railway series. Edward! And we're going to start off with making sure that our station is in build mode, and we're going to choose a double axle modern. Place that down. And then we're going to come in here and we're going to choose the double axle. Where is it? Large create style bogey. And we want to place that so that the piston looking thing overlaps the first or the back wheel here, just to give it kind of a closeness I know Edward doesn't have pistons and everything like that, but we're working with what we have, and we're just gonna just go with it. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that we place down our nice border of white slabs. Again, you can use any color slab you like, any color white slab. You don't have to use this type of slab. If you're using my mod pack, this is the Dave's Building Extended White Steel Slab. And we're going to make sure that we place down a 7x3 for just the slabs. And then we're going to go back through the back there, and we're going to place down 2 full blocks with one slab in the middle. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to place down a block of the blue slashed local metal, a block of the blue copper wrapped local metal, and then we're just going to repeat that once more, and then once more. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're just going to place down 4 more blocks on top of the ones that you just placed in that order as well. And then we're going to switch to the copycat step. And what we're doing here is we're placing down copycat steps like so. And what that's going to do is it's going to create a boiler for us when we place down the specific types of blocks inside of those copycat steps. It's going to give us a neat little effect. A boiler without those round boiler blocks, if you can believe it. I think it's pretty cool. Let's build ourselves a firebox, or smoke box, whatever you want to call it. We'll place down a couple of these copycat half panels on the bottom. We're going to grab the wood burner smokestack, and we're going to right click it so that it turns off the smoke particles. And we're going to grab a little tiny coal burner smokestack, and you can leave that one running. That's going to give the curved shape to the firebox here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab a copycat headstock and right click the bottom of that wood burner smokestack so that you have this effect there. Copycat half panel right there. And then we're going to do the same thing on either side of the wood burner smokestack. Just if you're floating like me, shift right click, but just right click those on to give yourself the front of Edward or the firebox, smoke box, whatever. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab a copycat beam filled with the blue local metal and place that down for our boiler bobble steam dome. And we're going to place down on the back side here 2 of the blue slashed local metal. Wait, I'm sorry, we actually needed to remove those, my apologies. And remove that guy, that's right, okay. I forgot, we're doing something different here. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to remove these bottom copycat steps right here, and we're going to place down copycat stairs filled with the blue. And there's that's going to be that effect there. We're going to grab ourselves a fluid tank as well as a whistle. Fluid tank's gonna go on top. Oh, you know what? Actually, no. The fluid tank's gonna go right there, and then whistle on top of that. Right click that whistle till it's the smallest one, so Edward has a tiny little peep. Little peep peep. going to shift right click a couple of copycat panels and fill those in with the copper wrapped blue Locometal. And then that's basically the boiler and firebox, smokebox, whatever you want to call it, for Edward taken care of. We're going to grab a couple of iron support wedges, place those on the front there just to give a little bit of styling. We're going to clear our palette, grab a copycat half panel, buffer, screw link coupler, red Locometal smokebox, and red slashed Locometal. Place down buffers and coupler, oh, and some red dye. And we're gonna do the smoke box on the couplers just to give a little bit of flair, but you can also do the red slash Locometal just to make Edward a little more plain. And you know, it's up to you. Edward is generally a freight engine, like he'll pull freight, but he does occasionally pull passenger, so it's up to you. You can do the smoke box or the red slash Locometal just to kind of do something different, whatever you prefer to do. Now we're going to place the red slash Locometal in our offhand and place down the half panels all the way to the back. Like so. And there we go. Next thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we have a copycat panel in our inventory. You know what, actually I'm going to grab this one that doesn't have NBT data to it. We're going to we're going to place down a copycat panel for temporary and get rid of the temporary and keep this guy here. Same thing, copycat panel for temporary, click again, get rid of this one here. And now we're just going to build our cab right there. Inside of the cab will come afterwards. We're going to fill these with the bamboo trapdoors, just because, you know, why not? Place down a couple of panels on the inside here to make a C shape. That'll also give us the ability to put windows on the front there. And on the inside, I have the blue slash Locometal, but you can do whatever you'd like. As far as the blue, we're going to grab some train controls and a seat. Place down our train controls and our seat. Put down a ladder on either side there so we have a way to get in and out of Edward. And we're going to grab our copycat layers. Place down a couple of rows of layers. Our standard roof. Grab some slices. Place those on either side. And then the deep slate tiles. You can do whatever color you'd like for the roof. I just like the deep slate tiles. It gives a nice black color. I like that. Now you officially have the engine for Edward complete. One thing that you can do is you can add a couple of vertical slices. I do this for a design choice because I like how this looks. And I did the same thing for Thomas, so I'm going to do the same thing for Edward. You don't have to add those if you don't want to. You can decorate your Edward however you want. It is entirely up to you. So we're going to clear our palette again. Oh wait, I forgot to do the red dye on the buffers. Just to keep everything kind of copacetic and in line. I totally forgot that's what I was going to be doing on these from now on. There we go. Now to make our tender. For the tender, we're going to grab the copycat slab and the copycat panel and the copycat half panel, as well as the copycat layer. Essentially what we're going to be doing is making a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 3. So we're going to start like this. 5. Oops. By 3. And if you're wondering what keeps happening, if you take any random block and you just right click, it will place down a bogey in this version of Extended Bogies. I think it's a bug just because it's a fork of the actual mod, which is no longer being supported. So the official mod, I believe, is no longer being supported, which is why it hasn't been updated into 1.20.1, I believe, and somebody else forked it into this version kind of thing. It's hard to explain. But we're gonna grab a train casing, and we want to do a triple axle, and we want the, I believe it's the medium tender one. Yes, it is. Okay. Perfect. And just fill in these copycat slabs with the blue loco metal. Grab your panels and run a row of panels down the front, the back, the left side, I'm sorry, the right side, the back, the left side, and then shift click a row in the front. Now we're gonna grab the copper wrapped blue loco metal, place those there. And you have a couple of different options here. Option number 1, you can make yourself the Furness tender, or I'm sorry, the Fowler tender, like Edward is most commonly seen with. But you can also, because Edward was on the Furness Railway, you can also make yourself, or make Edward into the Furness tender as well. It is your Edward. Literally make your tender however you want. If you like the way one looks over the other, great, do that. I'm just putting down those blocks there just to fill in and make it easier for me to place down these copycat layers quicker, but you don't have to fill in Edward's tender if you don't want to. You can leave it for storage. You could put item vaults in there, for example, and make Edward's Tender hold stuff for you. It's entirely up to you. And we're just adding some random levels on here. And we'll grab some coal. And fill in Edward's Tender. There we go. Whoops. That is not what I meant to do. Shape the coal, make it look a little bit different, unique. Clear the palette, grab the buffer and screw link coupler. Place down our buffers and our couplers. Red dye. And there we go. That completes our build of the Real World series or Railway series, RWS Edward. That's gonna do it for it. If you like this, you know, if you like this build, like the if you like the video, like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video. But I would love to hear what you think in the comments section below. And as a sneak preview of what is next, we have Edward the Green Engine next, followed by Gordon, and then James. And over here is also, if I could get unstuck, oh my goodness, is also Percy. So we have all the way up through. I may even do a tutorial for this mail van as well. So kind of, you know, let me know what you think. All that stuff. And I will see you in the next tutorial, next video, next live stream, all the stuff and things. Until then, okay, love you, bye. Good evening, everybody. My name is Bobbycraft, and today we're doing another one of our RWS, or Real World Series locomotives, and I figured we would just continue on and build Henry. So let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to be building Henry from the rails up. So we're going to start with our bogies, and we want to choose a standard size bogie. Place that down. Our next thing is going to be out of the extended bogies mod. We're going to go ahead and grab the, let's see, the long 060 driver, and we're going to place that right there. So if you see that, we counted back from where the blue starts. We're going to go back 1, 2, 3, and we're going to place that guy down. To make our bogie bigger, we're going to right-click the green part of the rail. That's going to turn us around, but never fear. You're going to come up to the bogie, and you're going to wait until it says bogie rotated. And then, so once it says bogie rotated once, you're going to click 2 more times. Boom, boom. And then once you place the locomotive from build mode back into assembled mode, it will never flip again. It's a really cool thing that I've discovered recently, and I'm trying to tell everybody, because I think it's pretty neat. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we are going to place down a copycat slab. And you know what, actually, we're going to actually grab some girders first, because those look pretty cool. Now, the basis for this locomotive was, the locomotive was originally built by my friend Teacup. This was built originally as a Black 5 in his railway regalia, whatever you want to call it, that sort of thing. But he gave me permission to turn this into Henry, and turn it into Henry rather. So what I did was I kind of just took it apart and did my own thing. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. We want to go ahead and place that. Well, we'll worry about that in a second, but we've got our girders placed down. Next thing we want to do is we want to run a row of copycat slabs all the way across here, and there will be a reason that we're doing that. which will reveal itself momentarily. Okay, and what we want to do once we have our copycat slabs down is we want to go ahead and, oh, actually we want to remove that guy. Once we have our copycat slabs down all the way up to this bogey here, we're going to place a chute on top of that bogey there. Alright, now for the fun bit, we're going to grab a hold of the copper wrapped Locometal and the lime Locometal smoke box. And what we're doing with this is we're going to place down everywhere that there needs to be the copper wrapped lime Locometal, and we're going to place down everywhere that we need to have the smoke box. And that's going to be how we design and do our character here. Next thing that we're going to do is we're just going to place about 1,000,000 of these copycat bites, and the reason will reveal itself shortly once we start coloring in the rest of the locomotive. But essentially we're going to just place down a bunch of these copycat bites, and I will be right back with those placed. Alright, now that we have all of our copycat bites placed, let's just take a recap of what we did here. So we started with our front standard bogey. We placed a chute on top of it. Then we ran all the way back through here, and we placed down our 060 large bogey from the Extended Bogeys mod. On top of that bogey, we placed down copycat slabs all the way up to that chute that we placed 2 copycat slabs backwards. Underneath those slabs, we did run the girders from the front of the from the front of the back bogey to the back of the front bogey, if that makes sense. And then we did end up placing 2 girders on the back of the back bogey. From there, we're going to start laying our foundations for our cab. So we're going to look at this back girder here, and we're going to place down a deep slate tile, 1 on the girder and then 2 on either side of that. And then we're going to place down 3 more of those slabs like so. We're going to grab hold of a deep slate block, and we're going to place those deep slate blocks like that, and 1 slab in the middle. From there, we are going to go ahead and grab, we need that slab back. We're going to go ahead and grab some ladders, and we're going to place the ladder of your choice. Again, this is your locomotive, do whatever you want. I'm going to use industrial iron ladders because I think they look cool against the deep slate. And you can use whatever colors you want. You don't have to make this into Henry. You could literally make this all black and or all purple or pink or blue, whatever you want. This is your locomotive. Make it so. All right. From there, we're just going to go ahead and finish filling in our cab, and we're going to grab hold of a train control, place those on the front side here front side of our cab to cover up those wheels that were there. We're going to grab 2 seats, place those down right there. And then we have the basic foundation of our cab, as well as the basic foundation of our locomotive set. So what we can do as well is we can place down our 3 slabs that will go into the tender. And then we can go ahead and grab our 2 train controls, so that way if you and your friend are sitting in the cab here for Henry, you can do the forward and then turn around and do the backward, or your friend can do the forward and you do the backward. Either way, you know, it's designed for 2 people. It's designed to be cool. It's also, you can do it as 1 person. You don't have to have 2 people, so it's entirely up to you. What we're gonna do though is, since we're here and we're working our way through from the ground up the entire locomotive, we're gonna place down 7, I believe that was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 in total for the tender. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's the basic foundation for our tender as well. Next thing we want to do is we might as well place our wheels down. And this is actually a really neat trick. So we're going to grab the single axle, and we want to do the, where is it? The medium trailing all the way at the bottom. I believe that is an extended bogies. Bogey, I should say. It's an extended bogies bogey. And you know what? That's a little bit bigger, I think. Is that a little bit bigger? I can't tell. Is that a little bigger? You know what? It's fine. It's fine even if it is. Then we're gonna grab our double axle, and we want to do the medium trailing as well for the double axle, and we're gonna place that sucker right there. That's gonna give the effect of a larger triple axle, and you know, just don't pay attention to the gap in between them there. Next thing that we want to do for our tender is we want to go ahead and grab some tile, deep slate tile stairs. And we're actually, since I'm a knucklehead and I forgot that that's what we were doing, we're actually going to replace these outer sides with those deep slate tiles. And actually this brings up a good point. A lot of you have been asking how to get rid of this menu that pops up accidentally sometimes. The default is the Z, but it's also the default for a lot of things. So your default button for that is Z, and it gets rid of it. There you go. Now you know. Perfect. Let's go ahead and clear out our palette a little bit here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to grab hold of the lime slashed local metal, place that in our offhand, and we're going to place down a row of the copycat half panels and completely destroy something in the process. Why not? We're going to place down our two rows here of the lime slashed local metal half panels, and then we have our next thing that we need here is we're going to grab the red slash local metal, place that in our offhand, and we're going to do the same thing here. Run down along either side of your Henry, placing down your border. And the reason that we're not continuing with the front of Henry or anything yet is because it's important to establish these borders so that way you know what you're looking at, and it helps you when you're leaving things uncolored as such, and it's going to help you in the long run. So building from the ground up and applying yourself borders is going to help out in the long run. Perfect. So from here we actually are going to start the front of Henry. So we're going to shift right click a block of the lime copper wrapped lime locomotive or local metal on either side of that bogey, and then that's going to provide us a base point for our pilot. So we want to also extend forward by 4 bytes over top of that those 2 blocks that we just placed. And then we want to go ahead and place down 4 rows of the copycat bytes, so 2 blocks worth, onto the front here. That's going to provide us with our front shape for Henry. And then let's just go ahead and place down our borders again, just to help get things where they need to be. Perfect. Alright, from here, what we want to do is we are going to place down a bunch of temporary blocks inside of our tender. And there is going to be a reason that we're placing down these temporary blocks that I will show you in a minute once we have them all placed. So fill up your tender with those temporary blocks, and what we're going to do is actually run a couple of them over top there, just so, you know, just because why not? We're going to grab hold of the copycat headstock, the copycat board and the copycat panel. Perfect. So our copycat headstock, first of all, is going to go right there. And then a copycat panel. Same thing back here, headstock, panel. One more time. And one more time. Excellent. Now we're going to take our copycat boards. We're going to run those boards all along our temporary blocks here. Perfect. All right. Now what we want to do on the back inside here is we want to go ahead and replace those blocks like so with just 3 green and then some copycat blocks or copycat slabs on top of that. You can texture the back of your locomotive however you want. I'm choosing to do that to keep in line with how the back of the tender originally looked with the or when it was a Black 5, I should say. So because again, this model is very heavily inspired off of my friend Teacup's design. And Teacup, if you remember, is also the person that designed the original version of our RWS Thomas. And graciously allowed me to make a video of that after I had changed quite a bit of his build. So there we go. We have our insides textured. We have our back. We're going to utilize in the Project Bubdor mod pack. We're going to utilize the Ultimine and just get rid of all those temporary blocks, like so. And then what we're going to do is listen to the boy bark, because, you know, why not? He's gonna be a pup, and he's gonna bark like a pup, because yeah, he's a little turkey sometimes. So there we go. We have our local metal smoke box placed down, and we're gonna go ahead and place down that guy. And you know what? We probably could have left some of those temporary blocks in there, because this is gonna make things easier once we place down our layers for the coal. But hey, this is Bubbycraft. We don't do things easy. So we're gonna place down another couple temporary blocks, and then place down 3 boards like that. On the inside of our tender for our boards, we're just gonna fill those in. Again, you can use whatever color green you want. I'm choosing to do the flatline riveted Locometal. And then there you go. That's basically the tender done right there. If you're curious what these were polished blackstone buttons, and I just put a ladder back there. Next thing we can do is we can go ahead and put on our copycat buffers and our copycat coupler. We're gonna fill those in like so. And then don't forget your red dye, because we really want to make sure that the buffers and everything are red and matching, just like our Thomas characters. So there we go. That's our tender complete. The only other thing that you can do is you can place down some copycat layers, you know, just filled with the coal block, however you want. And then just boop in some different designs and shapes and all that fun stuff, and you'll have yourself a really cool tender filled with coal. Now, once you hit if you feel like you've gone to, once you hit the full block level of the copycat layer, it will actually just start placing them on top of that, so giving you kind of a larger block of coal feeling or look, whatever. And that is just something that you can do. Excellent. Alright, now what we want to do is we want to grab a copycat panel. Clear out our palette just a little bit here. So we want to grab ourselves a copycat panel. And then we're gonna grab a copycat slice. And then we're gonna do the copycat half layer as well as a copycat slab. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna build Henry's cab. And apologies, we also need the copycat layer. And there we go. So we're gonna build Henry's cab now. We're gonna start by placing down a temporary panel and then clicking ourselves up a couple of panels on either side. Temporary panel and placing down 4. Excellent. Next thing that we want to do is, it's going to be easier to do this while these are colored. So we're going to go ahead and place down the lime slashed local metal on the frontmost copycat panels. And then we're going to place in our, oak windows on the windows, and then our copper wrapped local metal on the side of the cab. Perfect. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab a copycat layer, place that down temporarily, and then go ahead and place down your layers just to give yourself a roof. My goodness. These things are such a pain to place down. There we go. So we've got our 4-block roof here, and again, we're gonna do our standard 2 on the outside. Actually, I think that's 3. We're gonna do 3 on the outside, 5 in the middle, and then 3 on the outside. Perfect. Now, we're gonna go ahead and fill in 1 more on the back side here, and we'll grab our copycat half layer, and we'll grab our copycat half. There we go. And our half layer is going to make our roof extension, and it's going to make it look pretty neat. I'm going to fill these in with deep slate tiles because I really like the way the roof looks. With the deep slate tiles, you can do whatever color you want. And we're going to add a couple of copycat slices on either side here. And there you go. You now have a cab for your Henry. Perfect. But honestly, you could just go ahead and, drive your Henry. Hey, that looks great, why not? But that's not what we're going to do. We're going to actually make something neat out of our base that we have here. First thing that we want to do is we want to grab a copycat bite. We want to grab a copycat slab just in case. And not just in case, but it is part of the deal here. We want to grab a copycat half panel, and we want to grab a copycat stair. We also want to grab a copycat. I think we need a headstock, but I'm not 100% sure. Oh no, you know what? We don't need a headstock. Perfect. Oh, we need the copycat pressure plate. And we'll just do, sure, copycat stone pressure plate, why not? And then let's do a fluid tank and a whistle. Excellent. Oh, and you know what? I guess we can grab a copycat step as well. Why not? What we want to do first is take our copy. Oh, actually, hold on. Hold the phone here. Hold the phone. Set that down. We want to grab our we want to grab our light gray local metal, and at this time you can fill in all of these little bites if you choose to, or if you were impatient and you didn't want to wait and you saw that this was the light gray local metal and you already put down, you did this trick like we did before, where you put the block in your offhand and then just put the color as you went. You can definitely do that. You could have already done that, whatever. but there was a reason that we were waiting, and that was just to kind of show you that, you know, that we're building from the ground up and kind of just taking our time and that sort of thing. So we're gonna go ahead and fill in all of these like so. I am forgetting the blast furnace. And the blast furnace goes right here. And then the fluid tank goes right there with your whistle on top of it. Excellent. We can take those blocks out of our inventory. And did I actually make this bigger, or did I put the blast or the whistle? How did I do this? You know what? I think I went like this. No. Let's do this. And then we need a fluid tank. Like that. Yeah. And then the whistle on top of it, so it just sort of sticks out. And then we made it the biggest one, just so it fills in that space and it gives you the deeper, throatier whistle. Okay. Perfect. Get rid of our whistle. Oh, and accidentally get rid of our step at the same time. Alright. Perfect. So we want to go ahead and grab hold of our copycat bite. And we're going to place the copycat bites down in an L shape, run along the side of our whistle here. From there, we're going to fill those in with the lime-slashed local metal. So again, you can do that trick where you place the color on your offhand and just run another L shape on the other side. Wonderful. Next thing that we want to do is, again, keep the lime shape in your offhand. We're going to place down 2 of these copycat slabs, like so, and then 2 copycat steps, and take a copycat slab, and there we go, Bob's your uncle. The interior of our cab is going to be, what's that? Oh, that's just a piece of lime/local metal. Okay. Apparently I just did that. And we want to grab a couple of copycat panels, and then we're going to place our copycat panels on either side. Now, one thing that you can do just to kind of spice things up a little bit, instead of having a plain old green, is you can just put a piece of that regular local metal on the inside there, and that's going to make your boiler pop a little bit more. I don't know, it's just something you can do. It seems pretty cool, so that's what we'll do. We can also go ahead and place down a couple of copycat half panels, and if these were the copycat, if these were the cool things that let you do the amazing stuff, yeah, no, we're not gonna do that. If this was the, what is it? Copycat half layers, if we could do copycat half layers on either side there, and do like local metal there, and then the windows on the open spots, that would be so cool. But as of this video recording, it does not work like that. So there we go. Our cab interior is now officially finished. Oh, one major thing that we're missing on the outside here is our trim along the bottom side of the cab. And let's go ahead and just fill in our trim. You can choose to leave it black. That actually looked kind of cool. So if you wanted to do that, you could do that. That is just a thing you can do. Alright, next thing that we want to do is we are going to now come back into our copycats that we placed, and we are going to remove these 5 copycats. This was just a base or a temporary block just to kind of let you know what we were doing. So we want to place down our copycat bite, followed by our copycat, or sorry, not a copycat bite. We want to place down our lime copper wrap Locometal, followed by our lime Locometal smoke box, followed by that. Just rinse and repeat all the way down to the chute. From there, we're going to go ahead and just repeat that process one more time with those full blocks to fill that in again. And then we're going to place in our offhand copper, or the copper wrapped, and place down slabs on either side there. And then we're going to just place down the regular slabs, not filled. And if we were to go ahead and put this in our offhand and do that, it would just do that. So it's not quicker, in my opinion. We're just going to place those empty and click them until the smoke box is facing forward. So again, we're making the texture face front, like so. And then we're going to do the copycat slabs again on the top. And there we go. Our next step that we want to do is we want to place a full block of the lime Locometal smoke box and a backwards facing copycat stair. We're going to fill that backwards facing copycat stair with the lime smoke box, and then grab our pressure plate, place that on top of that guy, and fill it in with the smoke box, so it kind of gives a little bit of a puff to the top of it there. You know, just a little bit of an extra added little snippet of detail, if you will. And now we are basically almost done with our Henry. What we want to do next is we're going to grab the black Locometal, and we're going to grab an oil burner smokestack. So our black Locometal smoke box we're going to place on the front right there twice, so that Henry's smoke box kind of hangs out just a little bit. Then we're going to replace that back black one like that, so they connect like so. We're going to place a copycat slab on top. And then one thing I do is I remove this, crouch, and click. That's the best way to do that. Otherwise, you're going to have a heck of a time trying to fill that in. Alright, we're going to stand in the front of Henry, and we're going to place down our smoke boxes. We're going to go on either side, place down our side copycats, click them until they face the appropriate directions. Oh my god, and then pass it twice. You know, why not? You know, be cool like me, pass it twice. The real ones pass twice. There you go. Alright. We're gonna place down our smoke box, or I'm sorry, our smoke stack, like that. Alright, and basically our Henry is done. Essentially, you could leave him like that, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna run a row of our copycat half panels down along the side here. And that is going to fill in the edges and kind of just bring things together, make things look a little bit better. Alright, now we filled in our copycat half panels, and that gives us a nice unique shape to Henry. And our last couple of things that we're going to do are add in our couplers and our buffers, place down our dies. We're going to place down a couple of Why isn't that letting me do that? It let me do it there on that guy, but it's not letting me do it here. Oh, because I'm clicking on the wrong spot. Jeez. Alright, so you click on the... Oh my goodness. Click on these side blocks like so to place down your little decoration details. Place down a couple of supports to make it look like there's a couple of lamps. And then on my railroad there are whatever these little side things are called. I've just been doing it for all of them because I like it. And there we go. That is how you build RWS Henry, or Real World Series Henry. So if you're curious, how do I go ahead and make old shape versus new shape Henry? Let me go ahead and show you how to do that. What I want to do is just replace that like that because I really like that idea. Let me just actually take a second here to tell you how I do these builds. What I do is I place down two Henry, or I place down one that I've already built, and then I build alongside of it. That way I can make sure I'm not missing anything. Like right now I'm noticing that I forgot to add the piston covers on either side there, and that was also why we placed down the full blocks in there so that the piston covers would just fit right on super easily. But yeah, so what I do is I always keep the one that I built originally and I get rid of the copy that I built. So what I just did there was me liking what I did on the build, the tutorial version. So I'm changing my version to match the tutorial version because I really like how that looks like that. Alright, Editor Bubby here. Once again, I forgot to showcase the gluing, but I've always just assumed that you guys knew that you had to glue your locomotives when you're done. So let's go ahead and just show you how to glue this particular Henry. We're going to place a block there on the corner, and then we're going to place a block here so that it attaches to this slice like that. We're going to run our glue from that block to that block to connect the front engine for Henry. Remove your two blocks and then replace your slice if you chose to add the slices. To glue the tender, place a block on that corner there and place a block on that corner there. Stick your glue on those temporary blocks and then just remove your blocks and you have Henry. There you go. Now you know. But yes, how do I make old shape versus new shape Henry? So you're going to do a couple of modifications here. You're going to take out these sets of copycat bytes. Grab yourself the lime/slashed local metal like so. Take out those copycat panels on either side, and you're going to grab yourself a copycat layer. And you'll click down those layers 6 times, and then fill those in with the lime local metal. And that's how you build your old shape versus new shape Henry. I think that actually looks pretty cool, and we're going to utilize this technique in one of our next build, our upcoming episode next Saturday. And you can probably guess who is going to utilize this particular shaping as well. But yeah, that is how to build, I guess now, old shape and new shape Henry. Perfect. So if you wouldn't mind giving me a like on the video, if you liked the video, comment, subscribe, share, all the stuff. Dislike the video if you disliked it. Let me know what you think I could do differently. I am still learning how to do this. You know, again, I did not build this originally myself. I took the idea from my friend Teacup and I expanded upon it and made it look like Henry from Thomas and Friends. So again, a huge thank you to Teacup. I bow to you, sir. You are amazing, and I wish everybody a great rest of their Saturday. I'll talk to you later. Okay, love you. Bye! Good evening, everybody. My name is Bubbycraft, and today we're building RWS Gordon. Let's get started. So what we want to do is we want to, just like we did with Henry, we're going to build from the bottom up. So we're going to place down a pair of standard bogies. And then we're going to reach into our extended bogies and grab a triple axle. And we want to go ahead and do the short... Oh, where is it? This guy, the long 060 driver. That's what we want. And we want to place that guy right there. With an empty hand, we're going to right-click the green rail. Right-click the bogie itself once, twice, 3 times, and then your bogie will stay exactly where it's supposed to when you put it in build mode and take it out of build mode, and all the cool stuff and things. Next thing we want to do is we want to grab ourselves a single axle, and we want to do the one that looks like it's coming off of the back. There we go. And we want to place that guy down right there. We're going to do the same thing we just did. Once, twice, 3 times. But this time we want that bogie to be placed down like that instead. My apologies. So that way the bogie itself is right there, and it's kind of like a clear endpoint of the engine itself. The cab will start here. The cab will start here on the top of the bogie and move its way backwards. When gluing, I've actually noticed that the bogies, this part here and this part here, actually count as part of the block. So these bogies are about 2 blocks, well, technically 3 blocks wide. So when you're making these and you're gluing these, take that into consideration, that these little nubbins in the back actually do count towards what's being glued and what isn't when you're gluing your locomotive. And I'll show you more when we glue Gordon here in a second. Next thing we want to do, just like with Henry, we want to extend out the girders like so. We're going to place girders on the back there all the way to there, and we're just going to stop there. From there, we want to grab the one block that I forgot to grab, which would be the deep slate tile slab. We're going to place one deep slate tile slab down right there. And we're going to run a couple of deep slate tile stairs backwards, round, and like that. And that's going to be our cab base once we get to the cab. Alright, next thing we want to do is we want to place a chute on the top of that bogie right there. And this is what your Gordon should look like at this point. From here, what we want to do is we want to take 3 deep slate tiles and run those along the back of your cab. That's going to be the beginnings of the tender. From there, we're going to go ahead and run back a line of deep slate tiles towards the back for our base for the tender. And what we're looking for is from these, we want to go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. We want to go back 7. So make yourself a 7x3 deep slate tile slab. From there, once you have that slab set down, you have an option to replace your deep slate slabs with upside down deep slate stairs. And what that's going to do is it's going to help hide the bogies for the tender. So you can do that. It's just like another detail, or you can leave it alone. It's entirely up to you. It's your locomotive. So do with it as you wish. We want to grab ourselves a ladder. Any ladder will do. Place it on those deep slate blocks that you put down. From there, what we want to do is we want to grab ourselves a double axle. Where is it? The trailing one. We want the medium. Is it the medium? Yeah, the medium 04 or medium 404 trailing. And we're going to break that block right there. Place that guy down. Then we want a single axle, and we want that one to be the medium trailing one as well. And we're gonna place that guy right there. And that's gonna be the wheels for your tender taken care of. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna run we're going to completely mess up and break some blocks, of course. But we're gonna run a string of the copycat half panels along the sides here, and making sure that we've got those stopping. And then we want to stop right before this first stair, because that's going to be where your design goes up from there. Alright, next thing that we want to do is we want to grab a copycat bite, and our copycat bite is going to start a little ways over, but what we're going to do is we're just going to place down a couple of temporary ones just to get ourselves a little bit of running room here for the copycat bites. So we'll get rid of those two temporary ones, and we're gonna start a nice big old long strand of copycat bites. Your first strand is gonna stop over top of the first piston, and you're gonna do the same thing on the back side over here, or the other side of the locomotive. Getting rid of those temporary ones. Placing these guys down like so. Whoops, I think I just accidentally placed one. I did. There we go. Now what we want to do is we want to come in here and we want to grab a copper wrapped piece of local metal. We're going to crouch and click on top of the bogie there so that it's placed inside of our pistons. And that's going to give us access to that color palette here momentarily. Our next set of copycat bites is going to go down on top of those pieces of, or those blocks that you just put down. And we're going to run those copycat bites all the way to the back. Like so. Sometimes you'll make a mistake like I just did. Just be careful as you're going along and things will be fine. Perfect. Our next step from here is we're going to go ahead and fill in our colors. And I'm choosing to use the black local metal. You can use whatever color you want. R.W.S. Gordon in the books, he had a couple of different colors in a couple of different stories for his running board, so you can choose whatever color you want. I just kind of liked how the dark blue local metal not dark blue local metal, just the blue instead of light blue local metal looked with the black running boards. I think it's really snazzy, and it's, you know, it's different, you know, it's unique, that sort of thing. Next thing we're gonna do from there is we're gonna go ahead and place down our next run of copycat bytes. And you can do as I'm doing and having the Locometal in your offhand. You could have done that as well for these bytes too, but you're gonna have to decide what type of Locometal you wanted to do and that sort of thing. The reason that we're doing bytes on this design this time, the reason I'm doing bytes is because I just like the way the rivets look. You can also just do the normal Locometal, but yeah, I just like the way that the rivets look. Once we have our once we have our, what are those things called? Bytes down, we're gonna place down 2 pieces of the blue slash Locometal on either side behind those bytes. And we're gonna clear out the palette just a little bit so we have a room for our colors to go, or so we have a place for our colors to go. We're gonna grab a copycat half layer. We're gonna place that half layer so that it's just slightly below that first layer of bytes. Then we're gonna place another half layer down so that it's just below that guy. So we clicked 3 times on that one and twice on that one. We're gonna fill those in with our black Locometal. Grab a hold of some support wedges. You can decorate the front running board of your locomotive however you want. I'm just choosing to do support wedges and using my imagination that they are lanterns, that sort of thing. But it is your locomotive. Do with it how you wish. I'm going to place down a couple of buffers and a coupler. I'm going to do that to the back here as well. Buffers and a coupler so I can get those out of my palette. Also going to grab some red dye. I'm going to dye those items red. And we're going to get rid of the red out of our palette just for now. Next thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and place down the beginnings of our boiler. And to begin with our boiler, we're going to go ahead and place down a copycat slab just off of that front chute. And we're going to just dye that the black Locometal smoke box, placing a black Locometal smoke box on top of the chute as a temporary block to be able to place down a forward-facing smoke box off of it, and then deleting the temporary and placing a backwards facing off the back of it. We're going to apply 2 copycat slabs on either side of that, filling them in with the respective smoke box blocks as well to get that shape like so. We're going to place another slab on the top and grab a hold of an oil burner smokestack and place that behind that slab we just placed. For this slab up in the front, again, make that the black Locometal, and we're going to run a couple of copycat half panels off of that with the same black Locometal smoke box. There we go. Now you have the smoke box complete for your Gordon. And what we're going to do here is we're going to clean the palette up just a little bit. And we're going to grab a hold of the 3 colors that we're going to be using in our palette here, which is going to be the Polished Cut Azurine, the blue Copper Wrapped Locometal, and the blue Locometal Smoke Box. Now, what we're going to do from here is we're going to place down a piece of the copper-wrapped local metal, but we're also at the same time going to be placing down a row of slabs to go underneath, all the way up to those back blocks that we just placed there. Those back blocks are going to be blank for a reason, and we'll get into that reason shortly. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and dye the copycat slabs the colors that they need to be in this specific pattern. I just think that the pattern that I did just looks the best with the way that the stripes are on Gordon and everything like that. You can use whatever colors you want and do whatever striping pattern you want. I just kind of thought that this way looked the best. This way he's got 3 big distinct stripes and still has the different blue shades and everything to play with and mess with and everything like that. We're gonna place down the big parent blocks, if you will, of the colors that we just placed down. And then we're gonna run a row of copycat slabs down along the back of that, as well as along the side of the boiler too. As you can see, our Gordon is slowly starting to take shape. We're going to go ahead and just fill in our blocks the way that we have our design. And just really take your time. Put some attention to detail into things, and you'll find that it's going to start to show those little details, and you know, your imagination will allow things to pop and everything like that. So from what we just did there is we just placed down the boiler bobble or steam dome, whatever you guys prefer it to be called. I'm just going to call them boiler bobbles because it's fun to see you guys squirm in the comments. But yeah, we're going to place down our boiler bobble here in the middle. We're going to actually get rid of these copycat slabs, and we're going to do a row of copycat half layers, making sure that the first row stops at that copycat slab, and then come back here just like I am, place another row down so that it stops on that slab there as well, like so. And then we want to go ahead and grab another half layer and just kind of have it go down or come up to right underneath that white pixel line there, so that when you add the smoke box, it just lines up those those blue pixel lines right there, and the top of this block is right below this white line of pixels. Like that again on this side, and there is our dome. We're going to take our copycat half panels and run those along the sides here. And then coming over to the other side, we're just going to repeat the coloring process and just fill things in. Go. Perfect. That is our boiler just about done here. So I would like to say thank you so much to everybody for all the likes and the comments, and for everybody who's subscribed so far. I really appreciate all the support you've been giving in both series that I'm doing with you guys here on the YouTube. It is very, very nice to see people sharing their builds with me and you know, just interacting in general with you guys is a lot of fun. So if you like this video, please like the video. If you dislike it, you know, just dislike it, whatever you need to do, that sort of thing. Just be nice, be kind. Everybody's amazing, and I don't want to see anybody being rude or anything like that. So, you know, inside of our cab, we're going to place down a blast furnace right there, and then a fluid tank right behind that. Our whistle is then going to go above that. I'm pretty sure that's what I did here. Yeah, because I think I did. That's what I thought. I did two whistles here just to give Gordon a more distinct sound when you blow his whistle. And of course, right-clicking it with your wrench will make it the large size. From there, we're going to go ahead and clean out our palette just a little bit from some of the stuff that we're not going to be using. And we're going to grab ourselves a copycat layer. This copycat layer we're going to place down right here. And we're just going to have it come out, so that way we've got 3 pixels on either side. So we've got, again, 4 pixels on either side right there. This top piece inside this cab, I ended up putting a panel on top of it for some reason, when you could just be doing a normal black Locometal smoke box. That's what we're going to do there. And on top of that black Locometal smoke box, just place down your second layer on that side. And I just counted, we're going to count out 6 clicks to get those 4 pixels. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 clicks is going to be what it takes to get us there. And we want to grab a copycat step out of our little bag of tricks, and we're going to place a copycat step on the top of these copycat layers like so, and a copycat slab on top of that. Coming in with our blue /Locometal, we're going to fill those guys in with our blue /Locometal, and that's going to give us the distinctive shape of Gordon on the back of the boiler. And now we can begin with the cab. But before we begin with the cab, we're going to place down our copycat half panels on the sides here, of course with the red /Locometal. Now that we have the distinctive shape of the back of the boiler done, we're just going to continue to fill in the rest of these. Of course, at this point, you probably have already filled those in because you've built enough of these with me that you've anticipated there being red on those copycat half panels, and you are smart and amazing, and that's what you've already done. We're going to place down a copycat panel on either side there. Fill that copycat panel with the blue copper wrapped Locometal. And the front of Gordon is completely done for you. You can add in these slices as an extra decoration. I'm doing that because on my imaginary railroad, I have all of those on all of my locomotives. I have that. It's just a design choice from me. It is not something that you have to do. You don't have to do any of this, you know, you can do it however you want, but that's a design choice from me. I like it, so that's what we're gonna do. Next thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and place down a copycat panel on the outside, and that was a little bit trickier than I thought, so we're gonna go ahead and scoop that down just like so. And there we go. So you want that copycat panel to be on your design stripe. And what we're going to do is we're going to just run up that panel like so. We're going to shift click a couple of temporary blocks there. And we will continue with that in just a moment. You know what? We're going to run a temporary block over this way and place that guy down so we have no issues with placement there. And then a temporary block on either side. Now that we have our temporary block down, we're going to remove those spaces right there, or those copycat panels right there. And we're going to place down, oops, sorry. We're going to place down one copycat slice there. Oh my goodness. Do like that. We want it to be like that. So however you get the slice to work, we want one slice there, one slice there, and then on our back side, we want one slice there. We're going to repeat that over here. I'm just going to do it like that this time. Perfect. Now we can go ahead and remove those temporary blocks. And we want to grab ourselves a copycat board. This copycat board is going to be shift clicked onto the back of those copycat slices. Like so. And we're just going to come in here and take a peek at some of the blocks that we need. So we want to grab ourselves an oak window. And we're going to grab a blue copper wrapped local metal, a train control, and a seat. We're going to place down I believe that's a copycat panel, but let me double check. It's a copycat board. Okay. That actually makes sense. Alright, copycat board's going to go there, as well as there. Place oak windows along the sides here. And then we're going to grab the blue copper wrapped local metal. Place down our two train controls, seats behind those, and then that's the interior of our cab complete. Now for the exterior of our cab, we're going to go ahead and fill in those slices with some blue. And as you can see here, what we've done is we've put windows behind the slices to kind of give the effect of larger windows, but also slicing on top of it to put the blue slice in between the boards, just to give you that, you know, just a different effect. You know, it brings a little bit of a pop of color in between those windows, and it's kind of neat. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our copycat layers, question mark? And some deep slate tiles. And we're going to run our copycat layers along the roof here for our usual Sodor style of roof. We're going to come back one, and then we're going to take the copycat half layers, just like we did for Henry, and run those guys right there. Now our middle of the roof is going to come up to this bottom slab, and then it's going to go over one. So bring it up and then over one on our frontmost layer. So that way you have just a little bit of roof peeking over the top of your finished design. Our next one is just going to be just 2 pixels below, like so. So 1, 2. So when you place it down, you're going to click 3 times essentially. Same thing for those back half flares. Whoops. There we go. And that is our Gordon is completely done up until our tender separation here. Perfect. Now to go ahead and completely wipe our palette, we want to grab that guy and that guy and that guy. Perfect. So we're going to place down a temporary block to place our smoke box right there. Actually, I take that back. Temporary block there to place our smoke box there. 2 train controls on either side of that, like so. I completely just realized that that should not be red. That should be blue. But it wouldn't be one of my videos if there wasn't some sort of mistake. It just wouldn't be heard of. You guys would be riding and unsubscribing. You know, he made a perfect video. Unsubscribe. It's just, you know, it's completely unheard of. We're gonna do our back design here. Grabbing a hold of the riveted local metal and placing 3 blocks of that along the inside. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that we have a copycat slab. Placing 3 copycat slabs. And then we want a double dose of the flat blue riveted, as well as the blue smoke box yet again. And then we want to grab a ladder for the back. And I liked this design from Henry, so I went with it again with just the 2 buttons there and then the ladder in the middle. And believe it or not, if you're running across the roof of your express cars and you happen to fall through in this little gap, you do grab hold of this ladder and you can get yourself up on top of the tender. So it works. I mean, it was a design choice originally, but then, you know, it just became super practical and it actually works. So that's what we're gonna say. It works. Perfect. Our next thing that we want to do is we're going to place a copycat panel on either side of that, and then our copycat headstock on top of that. Again, we're filling these with the blue slashed local metal, and we're going to run down along here a line of temporary blocks. And we're going to connect those temporary blocks like so. You'll see why in a minute. We need to grab a copycat board. And before we run those boards, we're going to go like this. Place a temporary block on those as well to put down our headstock. Oops. Let's fill that in with the slashed blue. Panel. Headstock, slashed blue. Take your boards, run your boards all along those temporary blocks. And if you're in my mod pack, hold down your Ultimine key and get rid of those temporary blocks. We're gonna grab hold of the copper wrapped local metal now. Fill in the sides of our tender, and you have just successfully completed your Gordon build. You are now free to add whatever details you'd like to the inside of your tender. One thing that I did was I went ahead and placed down a temporary block here and then just ran a line of panels like so. And then behind the train controls, I just put down some temporary blocks to make it easier to fill in the coal and everything. So you can fill that stuff in like that if you wanted to. That's gonna give you a spot to put down your layers for your coal. Like that. And again, just remember with your layers, you can go up as high as you want, and then it will start asking, or sorry, it will start placing down some more layer pieces for you. Like so. You know, place them down however you want. Get yourself a nice design that you like. Grab a coal block. And just go nuts. Fill in your coal. And there you go. We have successfully built ourselves a RWS Gordon. Okay, and let's go ahead and glue this guy real quick. So we want to place down a temporary block and a temporary block. We're going to drag our glue up here to glue the tender. Remove our temporary blocks. Then we're going to get a little bit creative with how we glue Gordon here. So first things first, we want to start from this slab. And we're going to work our way down to that girder right there behind the back wheel. From there, we want to go ahead and come over here to the front. From this front coupler all the way to this back girder again. Next thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and from this buffer come back here to this girder, and then from this buffer back here to this girder. We're going to go ahead and glue those guys like so. We want to place glue from each slice to each slice. Actually, let's get rid of that glue. We want to go from there to there. So again, that was this block over to that block there to make sure that we have our front taken care of. And then what we're gonna do is place a temporary block there and a temporary block there, and just run a bead of glue. Get rid of our blocks. We should be able to go like this, and we have our train put together, but it will not have these back bogies attached to it, or this back bogie, I mean, attached to it. So what we want to do for that is we want to grab from this ladder, hop over here to that girder, and then this ladder to that girder, or if you chose to keep them as upside down stairs, then that's what you would do as well. But that is how you glue your Gordon, and we are all set. Boom. If you like the video, like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video. Let's go ahead and take Gordon for a quick little test drive, just to show that all of his pieces are together. Everything is copacetic, and we are good to go. Amazing. This has been another awesome Bubbycraft tutorial. There's Bean saying hi, and this is me saying, okay, love you, bye! Good evening, everybody. My name is Bubbycraft, and today we're going to be making RWS James. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to just take a look at this, so you guys get a full scope of what we're going to be doing here. And we're going to be making James You might think, he kind of looks like Edward. Yeah, you're right, he kind of looks like Edward. But we're going to be doing things in such a way where it's not going to be Edward. And we're just going to go ahead and grab a couple of different things here. We're going to grab a casing. We're going to grab a copycat slab. And let's grab ourselves a red Locometal. A little bit of the brass wrapped. And a little bit of the just regular red slashed. We'll also need to grab a copycat step, as we're going to make that step slab combination, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, we're going to start with opening our engine, and we're going to grab a single axle. We want a very specific single axle, and this one is going to be from Extended Bogies. I keep getting comments saying I can't find the bogie. Well, it's because I keep saying it's a bogie from Extended Bogies, and for some reason you guys aren't paying attention when I say that it's from Extended Bogies. So, unfortunately, if you're not listening to what I say, then I can't really help you, unfortunately. But this is, again, this is from Extended Bogies. This is the single bogie. And then our next bogie is going to be the triple axle large create style. I believe we go right there. Yep, perfect. So there we go. We have our wheelbase for James, and we're going to go ahead and place down our copycat slabs for James now. Oops. Goodness. Come on. So basically what we're doing is we're just surrounding our wheelbase. We're doing a line of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 3 for the main locomotive. Then we're gonna just come in here and grab this. We want a deep slate tile on the background, or on the back there, just a set of 3. These 3 are also going to be deep slate tiles, and then I believe the rest of the tender is also going to be deep slate. So our tender is going to go back 3, 4, 5. So you'll make yourself a 5 by 3 for the tender. And then we're going to go ahead and grab hold of a triple axle, and then it's going to be the medium 060 tender, and placing that down just like so. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a trick that I've done, that we saw done, I should say, on one of our other locomotives, and I guess we are going to do this in red, so why not? Let's just do this in red. I think, yeah, you know what? Actually, no, we're not going to do that trick. I was going to suggest putting the deep slate tile stairs, or deep slate stairs, whatever you want to call them, underneath. You know what? Let's just try it real quick. Deep slate tile stairs. Let's grab these. That actually might look pretty good, but I kind of like it. I kind of like it without them. So you can do what we did on the other builds, where we did the deep slate tile stairs underneath the tender. We did those for Gordon. We did those for Henry. Oops. It's just a thing that you can do. But me personally, I like the way it looks without that. And then I'm gonna just place down the, what you call it here, the headstocks, the copycat headstocks on either side. And then that's gonna be our tender skirt for James. Perfect. Now what we want to do is we want to grab ourselves a copycat panel. We might as well just finish the tender, because why not? Let's run across there. run across here. And then run across here. Perfect. Let's grab our brass wrapped red local metal. Place that on there. I've been sick recently, off and on, so I apologize if I sound weird. I know I've said a million times I'm not going to be one of those guys that says, hey, I'm sorry for sounding weird and all that stuff, but that's what I'm doing, because I feel like I sound really weird, and I'm sorry. But what I did, I just mimicked the back of the tender that we did for the bigger guys like Gordon and Henry, and this is going to be different from what Edward's look like. Edward's tender is just a little bit simple, and you know, it doesn't have all this little extra detail and everything. James is he's a passenger engine as well as a freight engine, so he needs to look a little bit different, and he needs to look a little bit more regal at times, a little bit more sophisticated. So I've given him a little bit more of a sophisticated look on the tender. And I'm going to go ahead and grab a hold of some copycat layers and some coal. We can place down the coal blocks first. You know what? Actually, oh whoops, I totally forgot. These right here need to be deep slate tile, like so. And you know what? Let's just place down those guys. Oh, and actually those are a different color. I mimicked the interior of the, or I'm sorry, I mimicked the back of the tender there, right here, so that way it looks a little bit different. And then we're going to place down some copycat layers. And just give yourself a little bit of a coal layer. It's a tender, everything's going to kind of swoop forward, or slope forward rather. So the back layers need to be taller than the middle layers, and so on. Perfect. So there we go, that's our coal pile. But again, you can make your coal pile look however you want. We're going to add down the copycat half panels filled with the brass wrapped red logo metal, and then that's our tender completed. I think it's kind of neat. It's pretty unique. Let's get rid of some of that stuff, fill our palette back up with what we need, and we're gonna go ahead and place down a temporary panel to be able to go like that. And then we want to grab a brass wrapped local metal, place that on either side. So I guess you could do the brass wrapped local metal first, and then do the, wait, actually no, you don't need to put that there, you need to put that there. Oh my goodness. And while we're at it, let's just fill these in. Jeez Louise. We're gonna fill in these back couple with the red slashed local metal. Fill in our panels with the brass wrapped local metal. And then I'm gonna place down some temporary blocks and grab a copycat half panel. And that copycat half panel is gonna go like so. And then I'm going to get rid of the temporaries and fill those half panels with the brass wrap local metal. That's going to give you James's kind of distinct, I guess we'll call it, shape to his cab. On the back side here, we're going to just place down a couple of copycat slices and fill those slices with the red slash Locometal. Perfect. The interior of James also here is going to be the deep slate tile, so that way we have kind of a rustic look to the way things are on the inside of the cab. We're going to place down... Oh, you know what? I'm actually doing this one block back. Whoops. So we're going to place down the seats where they're supposed to go. And then grab a hold of this. That. So train controls, yeah, train controls go there. Perfect. Oh my goodness, don't record stuff while you're sick. I'll tell you that much. There. Perfect. So go like this, and then let's grab our brass wrap Locometal, temporary blocks, place down our half panels, get rid of those guys, fill them in as such, placing down our copycat slices right there, and right there, filling them with the red Locometal. We're going to place a temporary block right here, come back in here, grab that. Wait, is that a panel? That is a panel. What's behind the panel? Oh! Okay, so we're going to place the fluid tank and the whistle on top of the fluid tank, and then we'll place a panel right there. Just put the panel back on my James like that. And then we're going to grab a black Locometal smoke box to cover that up. And you know what? We'll just grab these so that's easier to hop in and out of. Perfect. And then I need to grab this again because I'm it. There we go. Copycat panel, panel. Perfect. Now behind our train controls is going to be the brass wrap Locometal, like we did a minute ago. And we're going to grab some copycat stairs, place those stairs in front of that, and fill those with the brass wrap Locometal. Perfect. Next thing we want to do is we want to place down a copycat panel on either side of that whistle, fill it with the brass wrap Locometal, and that's going to give us the beginnings of our boiler. I'm going to use the windowed bamboo trapdoors for the windows for James. And then just a red slash Locometal on the inside there to fill in our final copycat panel. Perfect. Next thing that we want to do now is we want to go ahead and place up another red slash Locometal to be the beginnings of our actual physical boiler. Then we're going to place two of the brass wrap in front of it, two of the red slash in front of that, and that's going to complete the red portion of our boiler. Here's a tip. Don't actually mute yourself while you're recording something, because then you realize that you're muted and you have to go back and re-say everything that you did. So anyway, we placed down our black slash local metal, and then we were going to grab a copycat half panel, and as well as a copycat headstock. I am also going to grab the oil burner smokestack and the coal burner smokestack. The oil burner smokestack is going to go on the bottom here. Right click it to stop it from spewing smoke. Shift right click the coal burner smokestack on top of that. We're going to place a row, or a layer rather, of the half layers on the bottom side. Choose the black smoke box, there it is, as the filler for our half layers, and then the shift click the headstocks onto the coal burner smokestack to give yourself the rest of the smoke box filled in, like so. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to place copycat steps alongside along the side of our boiler. And that's going to give the protrusion look, if you will. Now I did this a couple of different ways on James just to kind of show you, but now that I'm actually seeing this, I kind of like it better the way I'm doing it here. So you can choose to do copycat panels to protrude out the sides of the boiler here, and you know what, actually that actually does look a little bit better in my opinion, because why would there be a puff to the boiler running along there? You know, just the things that you think of while you're doing things. So we're going to place a copycat panel alongside right here, fill those with the red local metal, fill those two there with the brass wrapped, and then those two there with the red slashed. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to just grab another whistle and extend that whistle up just a little bit more. And we're going to grab a copycat beam, place that down right in the middle of our brass wrapped portion of the boiler, and fill it with brass, or a block of brass to be more specific. Our final step, as we do always, is going to be grabbing some copycat layers and a copycat slice to finish things off with our roof. Like so. Oh, come on. There we go. Perfect. Remember 2 on the outsides, 3 in the middle. Grab the... I always forget that I can just put the block in my offhand when I'm filling these, or when I'm placing these. It would make my life so much easier. I always forget. But there we go. That is your James. The basic shape. And then we're just going to add a little bit of details to James now. So we've got here our couplers, like so. And then we run a copycat half layer or half panel run that all down along the side of James just to kind of bring things together and make him a really red, splendid engine. I'm gonna do a few of these industrial iron supports, like so. And then again, as I've mentioned before, on my Sodor and my railroad, whatever you want to call it, these slices go here as kind of like markers. I fill in the red on the bottom to make it match the front part of the locomotive, and then black on the top. And then that is our James. Perfect. Now let's glue him. So we're going to start by right-clicking with our glue. Oh, you always want to make sure that you don't have any glue placed down anywhere near you. For some reason, I have a ton of glue on the track. So always make sure that your leftover glue is gone. We're going to right-click the copycat slice there and bring our glue over to this copycat slice right here, like so. We're going to grab a temporary block and place 2 temporary blocks right there. Right click that temporary block and come down to this headstock right there. And now you have 2 separate distinct sections of your locomotive, and James is able to be glued together. So there we go. Now there are a couple of different things that you can do to, if you're thinking that the red doesn't actually look red. I was actually able to track down a texture pack that makes the red locomotive look red. I can't link it, it's not mine, so don't ask me for it. But if you have the means of tracking things down, then track it down yourself. But there are ways to make James more red, and honestly, I think it's kind of cool. By making James more red, it accentuates the red colors of all of the locomotives. So all of the red parts that we've used on all of the other locomotives are that much redder, that much more pronounced, and that sort of thing. And it apparently messed with the textures here in other places. So this is what it looks like with shaders. This is without shaders. And honestly, the more red does look kind of cool. But again, it's not mine. Don't ask me for it. I just wanted to show you that there are ways to, with texture packs, to make things look the way things are supposed to look, and so on and so forth. But yeah, so that's going to be basically it for things today. Our next RWS character is, of course, going to be Percy. And you can see Percy very clearly over there and in the shed with his mail vans. Yeah, so that's going to do it for the episode today. If you like the video, please like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video. If you wouldn't mind leaving a comment, that would be awesome. A cool comment would be something along the lines of, your voice doesn't sound that bad. Something nice, I don't know. Or you could say, James looks splendid, something cool. Come up with something cool and put it in the comments below. Help the algorithm push the video forward and all the cool stuff and things. But I've been Bubbycraft, and thanks very much for watching. Okay, love you, bye! Good evening, everybody. My name is Bubbycraft, and tonight we're gonna be building RWS Percy. So let's go ahead and get things rolling. We're gonna start off by placing down our double axle and we want to do the short driver out of the extended bogies mod. So the short 040 driver out of the extended bogies mod. We're going to place that guy down like so. And we're not going to make it bigger. We're just going to leave it exactly the way that it is. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to place down a 3x6 block, or 3x6 frame, whatever we want to call it. And you can use whatever white color you like. I like to use the white steel slabs from the Dave's Building Extended. So we've got that right there. And then we're going to go ahead and place down a block of the lime slashed Locometal on either side of the top of the bogey. And then on top of the bogey, we're going to place down one of the lime copper wrapped Locometals. And what we're going to be doing is we want to puff out the boiler quite a bit. So we're just going to place down another block of each color on top of the other, except for the back there. I forgot about the back. And right here, what we want to do is we want to place down a copycat stair on either side of that. Actually, I believe we're going to get rid of that one as well because there needs to be a tank in there. So we're going to fill either side, or either stair rather, with the lime slash Locometal. And we're going to grab a fluid tank. Place that fluid tank right inside. And we're going to grab a whistle. Place a whistle on top and click it twice. And then right click it with your wrench twice to make it the smaller version. That way, there's a whistle that's going to protrude from the top of the boiler for Percy, and it's going to give you a nice little peep peep sound when you blow the whistle. Next thing that we want to do is we want to place down 2 copycat steps on either side, and then a copycat slab on top of that. And we can extend back a copycat slab to hide that whistle a little bit better. We're just going to repeat our pattern that we had as well. Perfect. And that's the boiler for Percy done. Excellent. We're going to grab a hold of the copycat half panel as well. Place down some half panels. And I'll tell you what, we're going to actually be smart about this and place down half panels with the color filled in. I've been trying to be more and more good about that, or more good about that here and there. And I wanted to just illustrate something that you can do for Percy here. Similar to what we had with Thomas, we can actually do a nice little bit here with the whatchamacallit, it's the copycat bites. Place those down. Boop, boop. And we can fill these in with the red Locometal. Actually, we want to grab the white steel. I know I used the frame blocks there for those, but this is fine. So that's one thing that you can do. You can also grab the frame slice stairs upside down if you don't like the way that the whatchamacallit is looking. If you don't like the way that that texture looks, then you can do that. Bogey is going to make it impossible, so we're going to just go like this. And then like that. Place those down. Grab back a hold of our copycat. Let's grab red Locometal, and I actually need the white steel. We're gonna fill those tops in with the white steel and those bottoms in with the red local metal. And that's just a thing that you can do for Percy, just to give him a little bit of an extra step for detail, or a little extra bit of detail, whatever we're trying to say here. Alright, for the beginnings of our cab, what we want to do is we want to shift-click down a copycat slab, and then place a copycat slab behind that as well. And then we're going to fill those in with the lime slashed local metal. On our back side here, place down a row of the copycat steps. Run one additional slab up in the middle, in the back there. And I'll tell you what, we'll just do a couple of temporaries as well, because we want to be able to place down a little bit of an intricate deal here. So remove your temporary slabs, place down a couple of copycat half panels on the back of those panels that we just placed, and then remove our temporary panels. We're going to grab the flat lime slashed local metal to give a little bit of a texture variation for Percy. And then we're just going to use that block to place down a couple of temporaries, placing a copycat panel on either side there. Extend up the temporaries, place down a copycat panel, or copycat half panel, and then we're going to remove our temporary blocks. We're going to come over here and grab a hold of the lime slashed and then the flat lime slashed to fill in that part there. We're going to grab coal to fill that coal in. We want lime slashed on that piece there. And then our standard roof is going to be just the standard copycat layers that we normally do with the deep slate. I'm just going to place these down really quick. Just finishing up our roof. There we go. Standard roof is just going to be the 2 on either side and 3 in the middle. Grab a hold of our copycat slice. Place down some slices on either side. Fill in those slices with the deep slate tiles. And there's our roof. We want to grab a copycat layer as well. In the middle, we're going to place down a level 2 or a 2-click layer. Fill that with brass. And there's his boiler bobble. And then we're going to do a 1-click copycat layer right there, just to bring the roof up just a little bit more, like that. On either side of the front of Percy, we're going to place down a step, fill those with the lime slash local metal, and then what we're going to do is we are going to just proceed to start building the smoke box. Now, what I ended up having to do on that guy, and I'm going to have to do it here as well, just remove this front slab, come in there and click up on the top of this block right here. So click up, so that's the bottom of our smoke box. Just replace that block there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to place on top of that slab a coal burning smokestack and right click it to stop it. And then we're going to place a shift-click, a coal burner smokestack on top of that, just to give a little bit more shape to the top of the smoke box. And we're going to grab a couple of different things here. And we want to grab the black logo metal smoke box. We're going to place one of the copycat head blocks on all 3 sides of that oil burner, but towards the bottom of it. There we go. Click in your smoke box pieces just to give it some texture and a little bit of design. We're going to fill in that copycat slab with our smoke box, and then place a half panel and then another smoke box brick as well. We'll place down our couplers and buffers. And we want to make sure to place those up towards the top, so that way when you fill the copycats in, it hides any extra color that you might have added. Again, on my RWS engines, I place these little flags or these little markers, whatever you want to call them. Just because I think they look cool doesn't mean you think they look cool, so you definitely don't have to do those if you don't want to. It's just something that you can do to add a little bit more life to your locomotive, so to speak. But that completes our build, but you do need to add a couple of things for the inside, of course. So for the inside of Percy, it's gonna be a little bit tricky working in here. Because of those. It's gonna be like Thomas, where if it's not in build mode, then it's gonna be a little bit weird. So we'll place the train controls right there. The seats just put like so. Take out that back slab and put that down. For the inside of Percy, we're gonna just place down a couple of the slabs. Oh, actually get rid of the things on those guys. And we're gonna do the bamboo trapdoors. I can't talk today for some freaking reason. We're gonna stick that guy down. Oops. And we're gonna stick this guy down. And that's gonna complete our build for Percy. We're gonna grab a hold of some glue. And make sure that you remove any extra or excess glue spots that you may have already had. I've got this piece here, this vertical slice. I'm gonna right click that vertical slice. Bring my glue all the way to the back here. Oh, I wanna put down temporary block. So start from your temporary block and come down to the slice if you've got it. And that's your Percy glued. Perfect. Let me know what you think. If you like the video, please like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video. All the stuff and things. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for watching. And let me know if you'd like to see somebody special next. Kind of running out of ideas for season 2 of the normal build series, which is why I started doing things like Harold. I've got Terrence in the works, and I've got a couple other ideas and things. Also, let me know if you want to see a build tutorial for the mail vans. And let's see here, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, the map. The map's been released. I'll make sure to put a copy to the link to the map in the description. And yeah, leave me any questions, comments, or whatever in the comment section for this video. And again, thanks so much for watching. And okay, love you, bye.